From Nashville, Tennessee, Inside the Noize podcast with your host, Jenna Heidman. Here's Jenna.
You ready?
I was born ready.
All right. We're back inside the Noize. My name's Jenna Heidman, and today we have Colt Capperrune in the studio with us.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you doing today?
So far, so good. After a few laps to find a parking spot, we are all good.
National parking is just terrible in general, no matter where you go.
It is ridiculous everywhere.
But I drive kind of a more boxy car that I feel like is big. And I've hit so many curves. Like, there's so many. Everyone's always like, nice car, Jenna. And then I'm like, no, you can't look too close because you're going to see all the dents and damages.
I literally smashed a rim on a curb yesterday.
No.
Someone pulled out at me and I had nowhere to go. And I jumped the curb. I've only had the car that I have right now for like 3 weeks. Brand new car.
Oh, was it ruined or just like scratched?
Oh, it just bashed it up real bad.
That's the
worst. It didn't bend it. It didn't break it, but you know.
Yeah, I just got a new rim. Only one, because it was cracked. I thought it was a tire. And now I'm looking, I'm like, wow, that rim looks so much nicer than the rest. I'm like, give it a few weeks and it's going to be just scratched up from like parallel parking and everything else.
I have been in most places in the country and drove a ton everywhere. And I firmly believe the worst drivers in the country are in Nashville.
You think so?
Yes,
especially when it rains. Or like when people go
snow
up,
and rain.
When people go up and down hills, I swear they just slam on their brakes.
Yes.
Just for fun.
For no reason.
Like, everyone is just constantly slamming on their brakes and I don't understand. I'm always like, why?
And no one knows where they're going. No one knows where they're going. And yeah, anyway.
And I'm a bad driver, so like I can't even like maybe not that bad. I can't see at night well.
That's common.
Did you ever see that viral tweet that went around or that article where it was like it was two pictures of like cars at night and one was like the light flaring and one was not?
I have seen that.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I see it like the light flares. And I just thought everyone saw like that and I can't see at night.
So my wife wears glasses and she doesn't see very good at night either. And so every time one of those things comes up, one of those pictures, like this is what it looks, she's like, look at this. This is what's wrong with me.
See, I have 20/20 vision, but she said night. And she said night it happens.
Interesting.
So I guess I should go to the eye doctor. I haven't been in like 7 years.
Yeah.
So maybe my vision isn't as good as I think it is.
If you're having a problem, maybe go.
Oh, man. Okay, so each week on the podcast, we start off with some make some noise, stop that noise. So like a good week, bad week, just kind of ease in.
Okay. So I guess this past week has been wonderful. Status quo, just cranking out music 12, 14, 15 hours a day. Not really a whole lot exciting or out of the norm, but last week was a whirlwind. I think we're going to get to the YouTube stuff eventually anyway.
Yes, we will.
But I put out that video of watching out for music industry scams. And I knew that it had the potential to... Did you swear on this podcast?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I knew it had the potential to stir up some shit. And I just got so fed up with people getting ripped off that I literally, in my studio, the camera and the lights stay set up all the time. And so I got worked up from a message that someone sent me. They just got ripped off. And I just hit record and I just went to it. I just went for it. And man, I got some nasty messages and I got some nasty comments and I got called everything in the book. And at the same time, like 10 people... 12 people messaged me and said they were in the middle of signing a bad deal and pulled out because they watched the video.
Oh, dang.
And so it was the most bittersweet week I have had in a very long time.
That's awesome.
It's wonderful that it helped people, you know?
Yeah.
But
let's just dive right into it. So that's how I kind of discovered you was I saw all my friends sharing this video on Facebook. And it's a lot of the guests who have been on the podcast.
Okay.
A lot of them are up and coming, putting out their first EPs, their first singles. They're independent artists. And they all were sharing your video.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I got to check this guy out then and see what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But so kind of just give like our listeners like a backstory of what the video was.
So the video in a nutshell was just talking about all these deals. There's so many people here in Nashville, so many development companies and so many record companies that will offer you a deal. But the deal is based on you writing them a check, usually a very large check up front. And a lot of the times when I look at these deals, I get messages like this constantly, like weekly or every 2 or 3 days, people asking me to look over this stuff. And when you look over these deals, it's almost always someone who has not actually brought an artist to a place of success on their own ever before. And yet they want $3,000 a month
Just crazy.
For them to develop you, even though they have zero track record. But you go to their website and there's always a handful of big names, and it's either total bullshit, like completely made up, or they like worked on one piece of music 25 years ago,
right,
that was successful, and they're using that success to try to, I'm going to say, con artists out of money.
Yeah.
Even if their intent is good. Because some of the problem is that some of them do want to actually help.
Right. And
it's just
like, love the
terrible
music industry, but it's just a terrible.
Exactly. It's just still a terrible deal for the artist. So anyway, I get messages like this constantly. And the whole YouTube channel kind of started as just a way for, like, I don't really have time to have long conversations with tons of people on a daily basis because I'm busy making music as a producer. And so I started making videos as like, okay, I get asked this question every 3 days. I'm going to make a video so I can just reply with a link. And that is kind of how it started.
Yeah. It's just grown. And when did you start your YouTube channel?
Well, it's been around for a few years, but I only started actually putting any effort into it like 5 months ago.
Okay.
So
how fast did that grow when you started putting the effort in?
It's growing by 4,000 people a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 100, however many that breaks down to 100, 200 people a day.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just started with that. And so this is something that I've been really nervous about talking about publicly for a long time. Because as a freelance producer, mix engineer, I've worked on quite a bit of successful stuff at this point, but you still always have this fear of like, it could be over tomorrow.
Right.
Like tomorrow I could do the wrong thing, especially in today's social culture, this cancel culture that we're kind of in, for better or worse, not trying to get into all that. But you just always have this lingering thing in the back of your head where like, I could say the wrong thing and tomorrow it's over. It's done. And I go get a day job, Yeah. And so I had avoided talking about this subject out of kind of fear of that. And I finally just had enough. And I hit record and...
and it blew up. Did you expect the response to be like...
Yeah, I did.
You were just like, all right, I'm putting this out there. Then shut my phone off for a while, or did you sit there and we're like,
no, I did. I hit post, I hit publish on the video, and I literally just waited for it because I knew it was coming. Like I knew that it was going to be both good and bad.
Right.
I just didn't know what percentage of each that was going to be.
Yeah, I briefly scrolled through the comments, and I honestly probably didn't get to the bad ones. Maybe it was just the way YouTube was filtering them. Well,
luckily, I have them set most of the time where the most popular comments are up
on top. Okay.
And most of the popular comments were great, in full support. But, and I go through and I hide the really bad ones.
This is not going to be
Yeah, when someone's saying really nasty stuff, I try to go through and hide that. And not because I don't want people to disagree with me publicly. I fully welcome that.
Right.
But I'm not going to say on the air what, if someone is really going hard at me, I'm like, people don't need to see that.
Right. Like,
that's not appropriate.
Fine.
Yeah. If you disagree with me, let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
But otherwise. So anyway, yes, that is kind of where that video came from.
So what advice would you give young artists when they are like offered, even like, there's like developmental deals, I guess, management deals, publishing deals, everything. Like, what kind of advice would you give as an overview, or with the specifics with each?
So, as a general overview, if someone's asking you for money up front, it's probably a bad deal. That's like the very first thing, and it sounds obvious. Yeah, well, it sounds like it should be common sense, but you have a 16-year-old girl in Boise, Idaho, who is posting her original songs on Instagram, and then some music company on Music Row here in Nashville sends them an email, and they just see stars and like, this is my shot. And maybe mommy and daddy have a little bit of money, or maybe, you're 25 years old and you've saved up a little bit of money and you're like, yes, this is a good deal because someone in Nashville wants to work with me. And so so many people fall for it, and it's not ever a good deal. In terms of advice on each of those fronts, we can get as in depth in this as you want to. Each one of them is different. So if you're an art, I think what's most important is to decide what your goal is. If you want to be an artist, then you have to know that. If you want to be a songwriter, you have to know that. If you want to have a combination of both, then you should know that. And I don't think there's any right or wrong in terms of that, but how you proceed is directly impacted by what your goal is. And so first, I think everyone should know what their actual goal is. And then after that, well, let's talk about artists, for instance. If you're going to be an artist, if that's your goal, you just got to start writing songs, and you got to play shows. And I'm very DIY grassroots with this stuff, like when I'm developing someone. And at the very beginning stages, you have to write the best songs that you can, hopefully. And then you kind of need X number of songs out there depending on your goal. I'm very zoomed out, big picture with this stuff. So if you're an artist, you want to get in front of it the most amount of people as possible, as in as short of period of time as possible.
Yeah.
And so to me, what that looks like is opening for nationally touring artists.
Right.
Because you're in front of 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people every single show, rather than play your local coffee shop to 15 people.
Right.
So I kind of think that every time you're in front of X number of people, you gain a percentage of fans. And I feel like maybe 10% is probably, that sounds about reasonable.
Yeah.
So if you're in front of 15 people, you just gained 1.5 fans.
Which, I mean, they matter, but
they all matter,
that's
100%.
A slow grow.
It's a slow grow when you're on stage for 30 minutes, or maybe you're doing the 4-hour cover thing.
Yeah.
Whichever way you're doing it. And so when you can get in front of 5,000 people, now you gained 500 fans in that same amount of time. And so my honest advice is to always get enough music out as quickly as possible that is as high quality as possible, obviously. So that way you can go after those opening slots for nationally touring artists, because you can get traction in your career so much faster if that's your goal.
Right.
Like if you're gaining 1.5 fans, let's round up to 2 for the sake of the math. If you're gaining 2 fans for a show and you play 5 nights a week, that means you only gained 10 fans in a whole week worth of gigs.
Yeah. And
so times that by a year, you gain 520 fans in a year, as opposed to if you open for someone in front of 5,000 people one time, one single show,
gain all those fans.
You can gain the same number of fans.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, but you have to have enough music released that the promoters that put on these shows want to book you, and that you look appealing, and it's just a long it's a long growing process. But in a nutshell, write the best songs, get enough music out to fill a 20 or 30 minute time slot.
Right.
Start pushing to open for nationally touring artists.
Yeah, I work in the Texas music scene mostly.
Oh, okay.
So I've seen this with some guys coming up. I work for a well-known Texas artist, and we've been booking younger guys coming up, and I honestly look at the guys who have music out, who can play, and who have a great social following already.
There you go.
And like, they might not be as big, or like they're just like, one guy just started out, I think he opened 50 shows for us last year.
That's
now
awesome.
he has his own shows.
So let's from your perspective, what do you look for then? You look for people that have X number of songs released, probably. And what, like traction on YouTube or on Instagram?
Instagram, Spotify.
Okay.
I want them to like just have a good look.
Sure.
I look for someone kind of professional. I look for someone kind of younger, because the artist I work for is like, he's been around for a while, so I look for someone who's gonna bring in the younger fans and reintroduce them to the music that we're already hearing, and then also someone that's gonna gain fans from my artist.
There you go.
Because I want them to cross over.
Yes, definitely.
Because I believe in the young guys that we put on the shows, or the young girls.
Well, and I think that's a really good point too. You have to believe in them. Yeah. So as a young artist, as a beginning or new artist, you have to present yourself online, on social media, on YouTube, in a way that makes people believe in you.
Yeah, and it totally also depends on how they email me, because I get so many emails for those opening slots. So if they email me and it's like, my most frustrating thing is when we have a show announced and we promote the heck out of them. Like, we have graphics, we run so many ads. It's listed on the venue's calendar. When they send me an email knowing there's already support booked, like, for the dates, I'm like, why waste my time? But I always respond, because I never want to, like, be rude or discouraging.
Well, good on you for always responding. That's awesome.
I mean, I'm new at this still, so I'm like a year and a half in. So
okay.
We'll see when year 2 or year 3 rolls around and I'm still responding to these emails.
Yes. How much emphasis do you think the personal relationship side of it matters? Like, I would imagine someone in your position, and this is how I coach artists, someone in your position will very often already know of someone or have an actual relationship with someone when you at the time that you book them and place them on tour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the first guy we started booking last year, I actually had his friend on the podcast, discovered his music, and was like, hey, shoot me this kid's email. He's doing great on the Texas scene. We'd love to have him out on shows. Then he introduced me to his manager one night, and then we've become friends since. And now he has a few other artists around.
There you go.
And it's just been that personal relationship. And
Yep.
I offer them most of the shows first now. And like we just grab beers on a Tuesday night.
Exactly.
Like, and it's like we ask how we're doing, like not just in the professional life, but just like how are you doing, like in life in general. I
preach that so hard to all my clients that I'm producing for or whatever, and the people that I develop, is you can't. The importance of that personal relationship cannot be overstated.
Right.
It's the most important part of it. And so my last video that just went up on the channel was if you should move to Nashville or not.
Yeah.
And it was kind of in rebuttal to Sturgill Simpson's podcast interview where he told people not to move to Nashville.
Okay.
And I understand what he was saying completely. Like I get the point that he's trying to make, and I don't think he's necessarily wrong. But how much easier is it to create those exact relationships we just described if you live in the same town and you can go grab beers on a Tuesday with the person that's going to put you on tour?
Yep. And that matters a lot.
Yes,
and it's
it
like
does.
for me, I work a lot in the Texas industry. So even like I try to go down once every 2-3 months and meet the venues I'm talking to, because I talk to these venues, and just putting a face to them.
Yeah.
And like getting to know them has helped me so much too. But
Totally.
I mean, not being in Texas is hard, but not being in Nashville would be hard too.
Yeah, I do feel like, for better or worse, that there's so much legitimacy that being here gives you.
Yeah.
That most people elsewhere in the country will at least have a conversation with you just because you're here. Which drove me nuts when I first moved here.
Yes, I was gonna ask.
Yeah, when I very first moved here, I was like, it was so annoying to me because I had already had my first number one when I moved here.
Okay.
And but
no, when you say you had your first number one, did you produce it, write it?
Yeah, so I had produced and mixed it.
Okay.
And when I first moved here, maybe 30% of my clientele was national and like 70% was local to like the Midwest, like driving distance. And so when I first moved here, like I cut my income pretty substantially because I was only relying on that national clientele. But immediately the percentage of that national clientele went from like 30% to like 70%, like almost overnight.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? It annoyed me because I was doing okay in Illinois where I was from.
I'm from Illinois.
Where are you from?
Like in between Champaign and Kankakee.
I'm from Peoria.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Very small world. Yeah, when I first, like, things were okay, but I was feeling like I was pushing up against the ceiling in Illinois. Like I couldn't really go much further than I was. And then I moved here and I started getting way more work and way bigger clients. And I'm like, I was kind of jaded right at first because I was the same guy in the 4 months prior to moving and the 4 months after. I'm the same dude.
You're the same person,
with the same skill set. And, but it really is a testament to what this town does. The legitimacy that actually being a full-time producer, full-time artist, full-time whatever in Nashville, the legitimacy it gives you is crazy.
It is.
Yeah. For better or worse.
For better.
I feel like I have to keep saying that because there's a negative side to that as well. But it's crazy. Yeah.
Now, when you moved here, how did you meet like your group of people and your network?
So when I moved here, I don't know where this came from because I didn't have the big social media following. I didn't have the YouTube channel. I had none of that. But when I moved here, I just knew that I was taking a chance to move to a big city. And I knew, even having had the success that I had, I kind of expected to get eaten alive and like chewed up and spit out. And I expected to have my ass handed to me.
Yeah.
And so I thought if I just showed up to town and I met as many people as humanly possible, and my goal within the first week of moving here, I was like, like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, there can't be a single person in this town that doesn't know who I am. That's the goal. Every single person in music in this town needs to know who I am. And so I just started having coffee with people. I was already Facebook friends with dozens and dozens of people that lived here. I had already done sessions here and stuff. So I have been here 5 years now, and I have had coffee with 3 or 4 people a week. Still.
That's crazy.
So I don't know, 1,500 people, 2,000 people, however many people it is. Like, and that is just part of the thing. I'm still like doubling down on that. There can't be a person in this town that doesn't know who I am.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And for better or worse.
Are you an extrovert? No.
Not naturally. I've gotten to where I can turn it on.
Yeah.
But no, like I would much rather sit at home
than
go out drinking. Yeah. Which I got that out of I was totally an extrovert when I was young. Like from the age of 21 to the age of like 26, I was out 5-6 nights a week. Yeah. But now as I get older, I'm starting to get old. So I would
calming it down.
Yeah, I'm chilling it out.
I feel like I'm getting to that point.
Yeah.
I go in phases where like if I'm like, all right, I know I need to be good hang tonight. I know I need to go to the bar. I know I need to be out. But then it turns into like a 4-day bender. And then and then I'm home for like 3 weeks. And everyone's like, where have you been? And I'm like, I'm just hiding out. And then it happens again.
So when I first moved here, I was doing a bit of that as well. Like I was like, part of that whole everyone needs to know who I am was, you got to go out and drink. You got to go watch bands. You got to go.
Yeah.
And what I figured out pretty quick, not that anyone shouldn't go out and drink because everyone should do whatever. Like being a good hang is super important.
Right.
But I was finding it hard to build relationships that had any meaning to them.
Yeah.
Any sort of rapport. Because hey, what's up? Here's a Corona. Cheers. Okay, see you later. And nothing.
And that was it.
That was it. As to where if I go have coffee with someone, it's what we're doing right here. We're looking each other in the eye, and like at the end of an hour or an hour and a half, like I know you and you know me, and that yields like way greater results in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
what are some of your favorite coffee shops in Nashville?
I just came from Barista Parlor across the street.
Oh, I was gonna stop in there before I came.
I love their coffee. I stopped going there for a while because it was taking like 20 minutes to get a coffee for a bit. It's way better now.
I get the iced.
Same.
The iced like whiskey, vanilla,
Yep.
or something. Yeah, whatever that is.
I'm super basic.
I really like that. I was probably gonna go after and treat myself to one.
There you go.
Because I work from home too, so it's like I've been a little like unstimulated at home. So I was like, maybe I'll go to Barista Parlor after and work for a few hours there.
There you go.
Put on my headphones.
I love Frothy, obviously. I mean, I like all the typical coffee shops. However, I've been going to White Bison in the Nations a bunch.
In the Nations, okay, I haven't been there yet.
Because no one's ever there.
Oh, okay.
You never have to fight for parking. You never have to fight for a seat. It's quiet 100% of the time.
Those are pluses.
All of you listening, don't go to White Bison.
Everyone's gonna be a White Bison. I've been to the White Bison on 12 South before.
Yeah.
But that one's pretty like.
That's like a convenience store.
It is. It's like a little. I think they have an upstairs. I've never really been up there.
Yeah.
But it's not very coffee shop-ish.
No. And even the White Bison in the Nations is a little chain feeling. It's a little Starbucksy feeling.
Yeah.
But I will sacrifice that to not have to like do
To
3 loops to find parking.
And then a table or somewhere to sit.
You go to Frothy on 12 South and it's like you have to you order and then you stand there maybe till your coffee comes out before you even get a table half the time.
Yeah, and you're like looking around like, and I start getting anxiety. I'm like, where am I going to sit? Should I just
Same.
leave? Should I have gotten to go?
Same. Well, and I'm always meeting someone. So
you have to find somewhere
you
no
have
matter
to
what.
find a table. Yep. Anyway, so sorry, that was a long rabbit hole.
Oh man. Okay, so you also mix, you produce.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get into that?
So when I was 18, I was in a hard rock band. I was going to be a rock star. And
did you open for anyone cool?
Yeah, we opened for rock bands way back in the day.
I went to some shows in I think Peoria when I was
Did
in
you?
high school.
Who'd you see in Peoria?
Probably like Theory of a Dead Man.
Yeah. Okay.
Big Hinder fan at the time. I don't know if they ever came there.
Yep. So all of that would have been after.
Okay.
Yeah, because this was 18 years ago.
Okay.
I'm showing my age right now. But anyway, so I was in a rock band way back then, and we were a bunch of broke kids out of high school, and like none of us came from money, and so we talked to the local studio in town about recording, and they wanted like $5,000 to do our album, which now I realize is zero money.
Yeah,
it's super cheap.
Like a single. Though.
Yes, exactly. So, but I happened to be working at a music store that would let me put gear on an account and make payments on it. So I was like, well, $5,000, I could get all the recording equipment to make this happen for $5,000. So I did that. I put it on an account and just produced it myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I really took my time, and I must have some sort of a natural knack for it. But it went well, and 3 other bands had me do their album, like from my home on this little rig. And then the next year, 3 or 4 more bands, and the next year, same thing. And then eventually the studio that we talked to offered me a partnership in the studio. I think I was starting to cut into their work a little bit. And so I became a partner in that studio. And in a couple of years, I was basically running that studio, and then left. It got to the point where I was too busy to share studio space with other producers. And then so left and built my own studio right downtown Peoria, like right on the riverfront. And I was there for a handful of years and then came here. And it's just been one thing after another. Like, there wasn't really any big moments necessarily, just chipping away at it for the last 18 years. So,
what genre? Do you kind of work across all genres now?
No, I love working on country and rock.
Okay.
I love the pop side of country, like straight up the middle country. I love rock country. I love southern rock. I love hard rock. I work on a bit of metal stuff as well, and I do some pop as well, but I don't, pretty much I'll do anything except I don't really work on hip hop or R&B. It's not because I don't like it. It's not my bag. It's not in my bag. So, but pretty much everything else. Yeah.
I'm a big country fan.
Yes, same. Well, what's funny, I always joke about this because my background is pure rock.
Yeah, when you said rock, I'm like, okay, maybe he's like rocking with all the rock bands in
town.
town.
So my background is pure rock, and I always joke around that somewhere in the mid 2000s, the country genre kind of shifted to be what I naturally am, this kind of contemporary alternative rock thing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't grow up in country music at all. I didn't grow up as a fan. I didn't grow up listening to it whatsoever. I just remember the first Keith Urban record, and I was like, "Oh, this is great."
Man, if I would have known this, I would have played a fun game where I played 90s countries and make you guess it.
My wife does that all the time. Some early 90s country song come on, she'll sing every word, and I'm like, I'm the music guy. Like,
and you have no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah. I might get some hate for that because I'm probably what people say is wrong with country music. But
no, I had he just moved to town from LA. Dave Concio. Mm-hmm. He wrote Somewhere on a Beach for Dirk's Bentley.
Awesome.
And he knows no country, and he just moved here a few months ago.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and he couldn't
bombed
get it. Poor guy.
Yeah.
But then he did okay. Not great.
Well, what's funny is now, like, having fallen into the country thing, because easily 50% of the music I work on is country. Mm-hmm. And country I enjoy. I don't really work on anything I don't want to anymore. And now that older country stuff comes on the radio, I'm like, this is cool. Who is this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like it now.
Like, it was Brooks and Dunn.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Garth Brooks,
it's Travis Tritt, bro. But
can't believe you haven't heard of him.
But yeah, so I pretty much work on everything, and that's really how I got into country music.
Yeah, I'm looking at some names on your website right now. Mm-hmm. You did Garrett Biggs. He's been on the podcast.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it's Julia Cole.
Yep.
I don't know anyone else.
That's okay. You got to know some of the first names on the website.
I'm sure you. Well, I'm looking at this little music part.
What you got? Oh, so scroll up to the client list.
Oh, okay. All right, let me get to the real list.
Because I can't put everything I work on the website for people to listen to.
Well, you're right. I don't know if I know where the client list is at.
Oh, it's up there somewhere. Let me see that.
Yeah, you look at your website.
Do I need to redo my website?
I'm confused.
Apparently, I need to read. Oh, there it is, right there. Clients under Why Me.
Oh, Why Me? All right, let's see. I still don't know.
REO Speedwagon? You don't know REO Speedwagon?
Okay,
we could play this game the backwards way.
Yeah, we're playing this backwards again. No, I don't really. I've heard of them. Don't really know. I'm telling you, I grew up straight on country.
Okay.
And then
it's funny because even though I work on a ton of country and I've had a couple iTunes #1 country songs, my biggest stuff is all rock still. I kind of got robbed out of a gold record a few months ago, and like that was a rock song. Like most of the chart toppers were rock stuff. Yeah.
What are you listening to like yourself these days? Like radio
I'm
station or on Spotify?
No, I don't. I'm an Apple Music guy, and I don't listen to radio.
Apple Music.
Apple Music. So I have a problem with Spotify.
Because they don't pay you.
Because they're actively trying to overturn legislation that gave songwriters a raise.
I guess that's right. And I had a girl who confronted me and like yelled at me for not deleting my Spotify account last year.
I think listen to whatever you want.
And,
sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was like, I like it because I discover all the new artists I listen to on Spotify.
It's arguably the best platform.
And I just haven't really gotten into Apple Music just because I've used Spotify since college. So
Gotcha.
It's just been
Yes,
there.
I avoid Spotify on principle, not because I think Apple Music is better or anything, just on principle. But so I am obsessed with the new Hardy album.
Ooh, okay. What's your favorite song? What's
the last one? Was Zach Wilde on it?
Ooh, I don't even know.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
The collab album?
Yeah, the collab album. No, wait.
Let's see. I really liked Sign Sober You off his little EP.
Okay.
I like that one a lot.
I mean, pretty much every song on that album is great. I'm into Marshmello lately. You know who Marshmello?
Only because I feel like he collabed with maybe Kane Brown.
Yep. Marshmello's awesome.
So that's the only reason I know his name.
That's fair. There's this band called Issues. This is my musical taste. It's all over the place. Issues is like this super prog heavy metal band with like Michael Jackson meets Usher as a singer.
Okay.
It is it's crazy. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I've got let's see, I've got Slipknot on here, I've got Stray Cats on here, I've got Tori Kelly on here, I've got Periphery. I mean, it's just, you don't know any of these, do you?
I know none. I'm like, oh, I got some.
You're straight country.
I got George Strait over
There you go.
I got a little notification that Evan is 1% of his top fans on Spotify.
Hey,
you know,
that's
been listening to a lot of George Strait lately.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I got really into the Texas music scene probably like 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I basically listen to all Texas country artists now.
Well, who's some of your favorite Texas artists?
Cody Johnson.
Yep.
Have you heard of him?
Of course.
Okay, so he's great.
Cody Jinks from Texas? No, he's from like Oklahoma.
And he's a little more like, I feel like he's not like that cowboy country necessarily. He's a little more on the like roughin'.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten into him. So.
Okay.
Really into Parker McCollum.
Okay.
Have you listened to You might like Co Wetzel. Have you heard of Co Wetzel?
I've heard of, but haven't listened to.
Pull him up and listen to him on the way home.
Okay.
He is like ragweed, I guess, but he's more like rock.
Okay.
So you would like his stuff. He has a new album out, but his first one was great.
Nice.
Riley Green. He's not
Riley
Texas,
Green's great.
but Riley Green's great.
I'm friends with his guitar players.
Are you? I'm trying to date one of his friends.
Oh yeah. Let's give do you want to call out names? See if we can get a date.
He was in town when Riley played the Ryman.
Okay.
They had like an after party, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Met him there. Great. And then he kept telling me he was going to take me on a date when he came back. Well, he came back for the turkey conference last week and did not call me.
Oh, no.
So now we have a problem.
What's his name?
His name's Mike.
Mike, if you're listening, give us a call.
But and I saw Riley out the week before.
Yeah.
At Whiskey Jam, and I was like, because we all hung out that night. I was like, Riley, I'm still trying to date your friend. I was like, let him know. And Riley's like, who is this crazy girl? He was like, this girl's crazy. He's like, so you might stay away. It's fine.
Hey, you just gotta keep going after it if it's what you want.
Just keep trying.
Never give up.
Maybe I should. Maybe it's not meant to be.
Or maybe give up.
Maybe I'll try one more time.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I told myself when he came into town for the turkey conference, because after I saw Riley and told him that, I shot Mike a text. I was like, hey, I just saw your boy play at Whiskey Jam.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what he said, but then he's like, hey, I might be in town next week or in 2 weeks for the turkey conference. I was like, cool, just let me know if you're here.
Yeah.
Didn't let me know.
Mike.
And I went to the Drake conference and I didn't see him there, so I didn't go because I'm with Prince. I wasn't stalking. I had to pay $35 to get in and become a member.
Wow.
So now I'm a member of the National Wildlife Conservation.
Mike, your girl's dedicated over here. Come on, Mike.
Dang it. Nothing.
No.
It's fine.
I honestly, dating these days has got to be.
Man, did you meet your wife in Illinois or in Nashville?
Yeah, in Illinois. And we've been
Okay.
together like 12 or 13 years.
Okay.
So
you had an easy move. Not easy, but like.
well, yeah, in terms of that,
you had a
yes.
relationship.
Yeah, totally. She moved like 10 or 11 months ahead of me because I had a bunch of records to finish up, had to sell the house.
Oh, dang.
And she started applying for jobs once we decided to move here and got one right away. And
That's
we're
awesome.
like, oh, well,
Well, shoot, you got to go.
here we go. And almost a year later, then I finally got down here after I finished everything up. And that part was really rough.
Yeah.
But dating in this town, I think
I
would
don't
be.
even know how to date in this town.
I think it'd be rough.
And it's
I
also,
don't envy anyone.
like, I feel like it's a weird thing because, like, I'm young and everyone I hang out with is in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to, like, expand out. I like working out. I go to church. Like, I have my other groups of friends.
Yeah.
But I've made the mistake of dating in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it never turns out well.
I can see that. Well, I think in order to have any success in music, you have to be a little nuts.
Yeah.
Like I really kind of think that I'm a little nuts for sure.
Yeah. And I'm on the business side of it, so I feel like I'm the level-headed, keeping the nuts people level-headed.
Right.
I feel like I'm the one's like, okay.
Yeah, because if you're a creative, like you have to have you have to be a little off to be a great creative. I kind of believe that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be rough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't use any of the apps or anything, so maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Well, I feel like that would be the hardest part. Like today's dating where you just, I don't even know what direction it is. You just swipe left or whatever. I'm like, I don't, that seems terrible to me. Like I walked up to my wife at a bar and said, "Hey, you want a Jaeger bomb?" And she said, "Yes."
She said, woo!
And I was actually playing that night on stage, and that was it. So,
See? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really dated in a while.
Mike, give us a call.
I was trying to. I thought we naturally met. There was some chemistry.
Man.
I was like, all right, this guy isn't in the industry. Like, no lines will be crossed. Nothing will be blurred. He just has a friend, so he understands it.
Is he gay?
No, I don't know. Poor guy. He hunts a lot.
Good for him.
You know, so he's busy like 7 months of the year going on hunting
busy
trips.
shooting things.
And that's cool. I like to go hunting.
Yep, same. I grew up hunting for sure.
I did do deer.
Deer, yeah. Grew up bow hunting deer.
Man, so I go deer hunting every year still in Kentucky. I just drive up.
Okay.
My dad, we all go to a little cabin up there. But I got a bow for Christmas a few years ago.
Awesome.
And then my car got stolen and the bow was in the trunk of my car.
Oh, no.
And it's gone. It's been gone for like 3 years. I should just save up and buy a new one. But it was like $1,200 for the bow, the case, the arrows.
Right.
And everything was gone. So I had been
That
practicing and I was so excited because I don't even know what time of year it was. It was probably like the spring. So I'm like, okay, in fall I'll be good enough to go hunting with it.
Yeah.
No. Didn't get it. There's no bow.
That's unfortunate.
But
I haven't been hunting since I graduated high school.
Whoa.
Just been too busy with the music thing.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like a lot of people here hunt, but I don't really understand how to hunt on public ground.
Well, it's way harder.
Or
hunting public ground's way harder.
I feel like it's dangerous. Like
it
someone
is
could
dangerous.
just be sitting there too and you walk in their hunting area.
Yep. Next thing you know, was it Dick Cheney that shot someone in the face? Who was it?
I don't know.
some politician shot someone in the face with a shotgun.
Yeah, it's just dangerous. And
yeah.
Even when I go hunting in Kentucky with my dad, he usually still sits with me in the stand or walks me out.
That's cool.
I went by myself this year.
Did you?
They told me how to get to the stand. And I was like, y'all, it is dark at 4 a.m. How am I going to get there? And I have oversized clothes on. I'm trying to carry the gun. I'm like, oh, crap. How am I going to get to the stand? I made it.
That's funny. Shotgun then?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. It's easier.
I still get nervous. I still start shaking.
When you're about to pull the trigger on an animal?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of adrenaline there. And
it's like...
and the chances are so... it's a difficult thing, I feel like. And so you've put in a lot of work and a lot of effort. And
you
it's
sat there all day.
And you sat there all day or many days in a row. and then the animal walks in front of you. That's an adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
Dump.
I shot one from like 180 yards this year.
Wow.
And I pulled the trigger.
With a shotgun?
Yeah, and I was like, oops, I missed it. And I started giggling. No, it was dead. I was like, no, I really think I missed it. And I got out, and I always get nervous too. I get out of the scene, I'm like, crap, where was that deer?
Yeah.
Was it this way? Was it?
Yep.
Like, my dad's really good at that. He could like see it and be like, follow, like, he'll see like a tiny drop of blood and be like, all right, it's going to be this way, 40 yards. How'd you know it ran that way, Dad? It could have gone that way.
Oh, that's funny.
But
wow,
oh, man.
Yeah, I haven't been hunting since I graduated high school, and I'm about ready to. I think I want to start elk hunting.
Ooh, where do you do that? Out west, Canada?
Yeah, and there's a bunch of places like out west, and like I think Colorado, and
Okay.
But for me, it's all about the meat.
Yeah, I have a friend from Canada, and she was making elk spaghetti all last.
That's
month.
awesome. I'm not super religious on this aspect, but I kind of, if I could avoid factory farming for my meat, I'm 100% down for that. Like, I'm not down to be vegan. That doesn't work for me personally.
No, same.
But if I could avoid buying factory farm meat, I think that would be a good step in the right direction.
I did just eat my deer. I have one roast left, but I ate it from like December until now. I just bought chicken for the first time this year.
Nice.
But also, this is my first year skinning my own deer and gutting it. So like, I shot it, then I had to skin it because my dad was not there when I shot the deer. And then I had to like do it all, and then I put the meat in my freezer, and then I'm like, now I'm just gonna eat it.
Yep.
It sounds like it's easier like when when I don't have to like, when I didn't have to physically do it myself.
Totally. When it showed up in the freezer on its own.
And it's like packaged right. This is just in Ziploc bag. There's still a little hair on it.
Yeah, but there's something real about that.
There is, and it's great. But it also, in my head, I'm like, I hope I did this right. I hope I froze it. I hope I kept it the right temperature. And I overcook it because I get nervous. Like the deer steaks, I get nervous. I'm like, I don't know if this is supposed to be cooked.
Yeah.
So I do need to get better on that.
You ever use a temperature?
No, I don't. One of those things.
When I'm really particular about how something's cooked, I'll use a digital thermometer.
Okay.
Just
I
like
remember
if
my
you're
mom used to
cooking a
always
turkey.
like use them like in pork chops when we were little. But
Totally.
it was like
Yeah. Like an analog actual dial.
That's what I was just envisioning.
You made the noise. The dial squeaks as it moves.
But no, I don't personally own one of those. I just
That's hilarious.
my cooking skills have gotten better over the years.
There you go.
But they've been pretty.
Well, cooking wild game's a different thing too.
Yeah,
you have to cook it different.
Yeah, and like I got the roast down. Like my dad told me what seasoning to buy. That's easy, crock pot.
Yeah, totally.
But the steaks a little tricky because they taste gamey if you cook them too long, and then they get chewy.
And they're very lean.
Yep. Which is great.
It's wonderful if you cook it right.
Yeah, I just that's what I need Mike for.
There you go. Come on, Mike. Give your girl a call.
This poor guy. There's no shot left.
I am gonna look up Mike when we get out of here and email
I'll
him.
I'll show him.
That's funny.
No.
So what were we talking about?
Okay.
Music.
Music. I like Riley Green.
Riley Green's
That's
great.
where it all came from.
Oh, that is right. Okay. Riley Green, dating, hunting.
Oh gosh,
That was
it all comes back together.
There you go. It's meant to be, Mike.
Dang it. Man. I don't know what to say. Okay. We're going to shift gears back to the YouTube channel.
Okay. YouTube.
Okay. So you've grown this channel.
Yes.
You got 16,000 subscribers.
Woke up to 16,000 this morning.
Yes. Oh.
Yep. It was 15.9 or whatever last night. So.
And so do you have like a method when you're like, do you post every Tuesday, every Wednesday? Do you have a certain like algorithm you follow?
I have some principles, but
Okay.
not really any like hard structure.
Okay.
I try to post at least once a week. I do notice that the more often I post, the faster the growth is, for sure.
Okay.
I took 9 or 10 days off a few weeks ago, and there was very little growth. I posted 2 videos back to back in like 2 or 3 days, and ton of growth. So that I've kind of proven that to myself a few times. No, the principles are really well. First of all, I had not in the grand scheme of things a big following, but I had a pretty decent following on Instagram, and I was using Instagram to push the YouTube channel at first. So that is definitely part of it. But in a nutshell, the principles are just, I feel like you have to show people something they haven't seen before.
It has to be like meaningful content too. Like I think you're giving like good advice.
That's
and, like,
the
what
next
people
thing.
Hear.
Yes, it has to be something they haven't seen before, and in that as a subcategory, it either has to be entertaining or educational or a combination of both, or emotional. I guess it could make people feel something. Could be one of those three things or a combination of those three things. And then also at a higher quality, do stuff at a higher quality than people have seen before. So either something they haven't seen before or at a way higher quality than they've seen before, and preferably all of those things all mixed into one. And so that is what I try to do. I try to take my lighting serious. I try to take my editing serious. I try to take my B-roll serious. I have a decent camera. Like I try to...
Yeah, what kind of equipment do you have, or what do you recommend someone starting out if they're like, I want to start a YouTube channel?
Just your iPhone.
Just your iPhone.
Yeah, I started with a cell phone.
If I wanted to start doing video for this podcast, I just need to set up my iPhone.
Or a webcam or anything. So, okay. Podcast. Here's a good one for you.
Tell me. So
the first,
because we are trying to move into video.
Okay, so the first videos I uploaded, there was a bunch of like guitar playing videos, a bunch of random videos on the channel from years ago. But the first video where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this thing is I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. That was literally.
Did you start one?
I didn't end up doing it because I just fell into like the YouTube thing. Felt like it resonated a bit better with me. I was better at it than I thought I would be at this. But anyway, so. Again, it was just people would ask me a question all the time, like, how do I get a manager? And so then I think it was episode 1, it says number 1, how to get a manager. I literally just set my cell phone up and hit record on video. And I had a SM7, just like we're talking in here, and recorded that into Pro Tools. And then I got done with a 45-minute episode, and the video from the iPhone didn't sync with the audio in Pro Tools. And what I figured out is these phones are not professional tools. Maybe the newest ones are, but at the time, I think I had the iPhone 8 maybe. And so the time code isn't accurate. So the audio and the video were multiple seconds off at the end of a 45-minute podcast.
Oh, dang.
So I think everyone should just start with their phone. And just try it. And because most people aren't going to sit down and talk uninterrupted for 45 minutes. That's not what most people are going to put on YouTube.
Right.
You will probably. That makes sense for this, but
I say like for like video purposes, do you like follow Barstool Sports?
No.
Like they do.
I know what they are.
Yeah, they do a great job of like different angles, and then it's like and then like clips on Instagram.
Totally.
It's just like that and the subtitles, so then you go listen to the podcast.
Yes.
Or you go click on it and go to, or it's full video like Gary Vee.
Yes.
Like,
see, and so I think what a lot of people miss though when they're going to start a YouTube channel is they think they need to go straight to that.
Yeah.
When in reality, you should just start with whatever it is that you have. You should just start doing it.
Start doing it, and then find out.
And then find out what the weaknesses are. Figure out how you can improve. Oh, this light is holding me back, or oh, the video from my phone isn't lining up with the audio at the end of 45 minutes. And so then I buy a camera. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think so many people get intimidated because they need to do what Gary Vee is doing.
Right. That's like,
and that's a $10,000 investment with multiple cameras and lights and someone to run
running them and editing them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, which makes it.
So I think you should just start no matter what. And I think this is such a cliche thing to say, but I think content is king. I think that the production value is important, but I think that if the content sucks, it doesn't matter how good the shot looks.
Right.
So if you have to leverage against one of those two things, you have to be saying something valuable or providing entertainment or whatever. That is the first important thing. And then if you can do it at a way better level, then awesome. You know what I mean? But so as far as cameras, so then I started shopping for cameras, and I wasn't willing to buy a camera just for the sake of this particular problem, the time code issue. I was like, if I'm going to spend money on a camera, it has to beat the photos and video from my iPhone in every way. Like, it has to be obviously better. And so what I ended up with was a Sony A6400. and a couple Sigma lenses and a couple on-camera microphones. And now it's just gone off the rails. I've got a gimbal and I've got film lights and I've got I've got all the stuff.
Setup.
Yeah. But I think that's also a good thing is I was like, I wanted to put B-roll in my videos and I want it to be super smooth, cinematic, like cool looking B-roll. But I was like, I'm not going to spend $500 on a gimbal until I feel like it's worth it, until I have some traction on YouTube. And then I'm like, okay, now this is a worthwhile investment. So I would just hand hold all my B-roll in slow-mo. And like, it was a learning curve. But I think that there is really something in the same way that I produced my first album at home with very inexpensive average microphones on a very simple recording rig, and made it work. And I started the YouTube channel with my phone. And like, I'm a big fan of like, if you can't get it done with the bare minimum, you're not going to be good at it.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Which is, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Instead of just jumping in.
Totally. And then like as far as lights, like forever I just used shop lights from Home Depot, like the 4-foot fluorescent shop lights. I just hang them up vertically on the wall in front of me
and just boom.
And no one, honestly, when I first got my film lights, I dropped some money on some good film lights and I'm like, yes, this is better, but it's not really that much better.
No one understood, like, really.
Yeah, no one commented on it. I mean, I get comments that the shot looks good, what lights you're using, whatever, but there wasn't like a moment where they're like, oh, he must have upgraded his lighting. Nobody cares.
He stepped it up.
Yeah, no one cares.
Oh, man. Okay, so one last thing of advice. So I work in management. How do you tell young artists to look for a manager? What do you think is a good fit?
My normal advice is do work until there are no more minutes in the day. I always tell people that generally speaking, most managers are not going to create opportunities for you that you're not capable of creating yourself, although that's part of it. I feel like a lot of people look for booking agents and they look for managers as a solution to problems they don't understand how to solve. I can't figure out how to get my career further. I can't figure out how to get this show. I can't figure out fill in the blank. I must need a manager. And I don't feel like that's accurate. I feel like the managers that will come in at that stage when you don't have any resemblance of a career whatever are probably not the managers that are going to create opportunities for you anyway. The managers you really want, in my opinion, is you've taken your career as far as you can possibly take it on your own. You have a career. You're playing shows constantly. You have big stream numbers. You have your opening shows for nationally touring artists and all this stuff. And you're working 18 hours a day, and there's no more minutes in the day for you to do anything else. Then a manager comes in and picks up that slack and helps
take that off you, so you can be more creative.
So you can be more creative, helps you, go further once you're there. And I always break this down too because you manage. Is that what you said? What's your percentage? Do you mind saying it on the air?
No, I don't. Well, I don't mind. But so okay. I'm in a weird situation where I was with a management company, and we broke off last year. Okay. So the guy I work for, I'm actually just contracted right now. Okay. So I'm contracted with him, and then I just signed a new artist. Okay. And we have not worked out. Eventually, I'd like to be 15%.
Okay. So typically, that's normal, 10 to 15%. 12.5% to 15 is super common. So the interesting thing to me is when an artist who doesn't really have anything going on, they're like, how do I get a manager? I'm like, how much money do you make? And they're like, oh, I made $5,000 last year. And I'm like, but 10% of $5,000 is nothing.
And here's the deal with where I'm at now too, is with this new guy. So I do a lot of, like, I love day-to-day like management, love it, cool. But I also know that I'm great at doing like the social media, content creation, branding. And if I just send out a pitch, if I pitch that to someone for a monthly rate, it's $1,500. Okay. Like, if I'm gonna work with you, because you're gonna need, like, it's gonna be $1,500, $2,000 if you want graphics. Okay. So with this new guy, technically manager, but they want to offer me a monthly rate, and I feel weird taking that, knowing that I'm the manager. Yeah. Of taking a monthly pay. But we're going to pay a publicist, and we're going to pay... Totally. And we would pay a digital marketing agency if it wasn't going to be put on my plate. Totally. But it makes me feel weird, because I'm like, I'm like, oh, I should just make 15% of what you're making. If you're not making money, I don't want to make money. But I'm also working 40 hours a week for you now. Yes. I know, it's a weird thing.
It is a weird thing, and I think that and that is exactly what I was saying earlier about, like, paying people up front. Like, I think a lot of these people have the best of intent. You don't seem like the kind of person that's trying to scam people. You know what I mean? You're not trying to, I don't get the impression from you that you're trying to take people's money and give them nothing in return.
No.
But you probably also have some track record. You just said that you had worked with an artist that you put on 50 shows so that is a track record. That's like, in the video, I kind of discussed that if you're going to pay someone monthly, they should be able to point you to multiple examples of success where they took an artist and they did this for that artist. And you all, just in the random conversation of this podcast, you already said that. So, which I'm sure there's more examples of that. So I get that. Yeah, that would feel weird.
See,
I get it.
It's a weird place.
It is.
I'm just avoiding the conversation, so I'm not making I'm like, I'll just keep doing it for nothing for now, and we'll just talk later.
Well, and that's the hard thing too, is like, you can't justify doing that forever.
Right, because I am working.
You are putting hours
an extra,
in.
Like, yeah, like, I'm just going to say, like, going from one artist to two, I'm all of a sudden working 8 to 8.
Right.
Instead of what I could probably manage 8 to 5, maybe. Totally. And like, artists are needy.
Well, yeah, and usually the kind of artist that's willing to pay monthly because they don't have a career yet.
It's going to be extra.
It's going to be extra needy because they don't really know
what to do at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that has some potential to be complicated for sure. But in a nutshell, if someone's looking for management or if someone's looking for a booking agent or whatever, I really suggest that just take your career there yourself. Learn how the industry works. Learn how to book shows. Learn how to, do playlists. Learn how all this stuff works yourself. And then once your career gets to a place where you're making $40, $50, $60, $100,000 a year, because first of all, and I have several videos about this actually, where you're asking someone to work for you, and if you want all of their attention, if someone comes to you and they're like, hey, I want you to manage me and I want to be the only artist you manage, well, your 15%, like, even if they make $100,000 a year, that's still only 15 grand. You couldn't possibly pay for anything with 15 grand.
Right.
And so what I think a lot of artists in the beginning stages don't realize is you got to make that, even at 15%, you got to be a $250,000 a year artist in order to have a manager that only works for you. So you got to give somewhere. You either got to have an artist or a manager who is not only working with you, they're working with multiple artists, which you could debate whether that's a good idea or not. And then, or you have to have a manager who is investing their time into you because they believe in you, kind of like what you just said you were doing, or you have to pay monthly for it.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah. And it's weird.
It's a hard thing, but I on my channel and on my Instagram and everything, I just really try to get artists in the mindset of like, you're an entrepreneur, you're running a business.
It's their business.
Go do it. If you wanted to start a plumbing business, random, but if you wanted to start a plumbing business, you're not going to hire a manager to book you plumbing gigs. You're going to do it yourself. You're going to have to take out advertisements. You're going to have to put an ad in the yellow pages in the newspaper, whatever. You're going to have to pay for all your equipment yourself. You're going to, you're going to have to buy the work truck yourself. And so I use, like, if you wanted to start a construction business, you have to pay for all the saws yourself. You have to get all the experience and the training yourself on your own dime. And being an artist is no different in any way than that. You're starting a business. You have to invest in yourself, your time and your money, just like you would any other business.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I just try really hard to get artists in that mindset.
Yeah.
You have to invest in yourself. And if you I feel like if you approach things with that mindset, you're not sitting around saying, oh, I need a manager if I want to pull this off. I need a booking agent I need a record deal if I want to pull this off.
Right.
Because that attitude will keep you from ever getting anywhere. Because, I mean, record deals don't even get offered to people who don't have a career anymore.
Right.
Especially in country, I should preface that.
Yeah, like you have to be doing something.
Yes.
I'll agree. So, like, from my standpoint, I want to work with someone who's already booking their own shows, who's going to work 12 hours a day too. If I'm going to work 12 hours a day for you, you better be working 12 hours a day for yourself.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to just be up here working for you.
And once you get to a certain place in the industry, which we both are at this point, you can see that if someone's going to make it. and with my clients, if I try to go above and beyond with every client that I have in terms of like helping them and coaching them, development, whatever. But there's always these clients that like pop through, and I'm like, you're gonna do something. Mm-hmm. Garrett's one of them. Garrett Biggs.
Yeah.
I believe he's gonna do something, and so I want to do everything I can to help facilitate that.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway.
Cool.
Yes. That went from how to build your YouTube channel.
All right. Where can everyone follow you to watch these videos, keep up with what you're doing?
So the YouTube channel is just my name, Colt Capperrune, which is a mouthful. Capperrune. I'm also on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'm posting all the time.
Awesome. And we'll link everything in our show notes for people to go click on, follow. And you can follow us at Inside the Noize. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube.
Perfect. And I'll share this when it comes out too.
Boom.
Awesome.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
Cool.
man. Cool. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.